There's just so much. Okay. Before we get started, hold on, I gotta get situated. Okay. It's like 5 degrees warmer on purpose. Thanks, RJ. Round of applause for RJ. Yay. Also, look at this. There it is. Also, that's exactly how it's gonna go. Just so we're really clear, like that's what you can expect from me. Okay. Yes. Perfect. So I go to church caddy corner over here at the First Christian Church, and I'm not super familiar with New Life and whatever, but are they killing it or what? Like this worship team and them leading it? Oh my gosh. Just our prayer time. I'm just like over the moon. It's such a joy to be here and just feel the presence. And I'm just like, whoo, get ready. I don't know if you ate too much for lunch, but you're about to work it out with some digestion as we go here. I guarantee it. Okay. Okay. Yes, let's do this. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit. So funny. So they don't know me like super well, which, like we come to the meeting like a month ago or whatever, and they're like, so what's everyone going to talk about? Here's our verse that we're going to focus on. And I go, rocks. And they were like, okay. And I was like, no, there's no more. That's literally all I have for you right now. And they were just, bless their hearts. Amanda in her little type A, she was like, like the twitch. And I was like, I was really trying to give her something, but I had nothing. Like, me and Jesus hadn't talked about this yet. And that's not really how I operate, to do things a month ahead of time. And so I was like, well, it could be this, or it could be this. And I just started basically just making things up. And so that made her feel better, though, for a minute. And then here we are. We're going to talk about rocks. I told you. Okay, so this is what you're getting yourself into, because, I don't know all of you. So I have taught at Holden Middle School in town for 15 years. So when you hang out with 12-year-olds for that long, guess what you're getting, folks? A 12-year-old, straight up. I paid at Key Coffee this morning with 4 quarters and $1 bills. Okay, that's what we're working with. Okay, like a little over a year ago, I just woke up. I have grown up in the church. My parents are good, God-loving people, but I was just like a Sunday Christian, a real lukewarm, if you will, and not no mo. I'm on fire. So here we are, as you notice from the dancing and the nonsense. So, okay, that's that. And then this robe, a lot of you are probably like, why are you wearing a robe, weirdo? And then see point A, if, 12-year-olds. Okay, but like one of the ways I've said yes to God is a while ago, January-ish. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. He first told me last summer, and I was like, no. And then he came back and was like, no, I done told you. And I was like, okay. I just really felt like I should be sharing more than I was. And so I started like just doing a little talk in the morning on Facebook. And sometimes it's like 2 minutes, and sometimes it's like a little bit more than that. A lot of the time, it's more than that. Sorry about, not sorry. Okay, so anyways, it just, the very first day that I did it, it was like I woke up in the morning, put on my fuzzy robe, because this is my fuzzy robe that I wear in the mornings. I got it when I was pregnant, so it's 2XL, love it. Can't fit like anything else. Well, I can fit a few more things in here, but anyway, and I was like, man, I think I'm going to do this. What should I call it? I kind of think it was you, Brandy, was it, that said I should call it Robe Talks. And so here we are. I've been doing it since January. And every day I just get on there and just talk about Jesus a little bit. And every day I got a robe on. And I even have a travel robe because this thing is too big to pack. Do you see this? It's its own suitcase. So I had to get a travel robe. So here's the robe. But I'm going to tell you, I knew this was going to happen. I get all wound up. I get hot. So I'm going to take it off. But you saw me in the robe, so that counts. Okay. So I was not playing when I really felt like, okay, we had this verse for the conference, and just the rocks and the stones, man, that was just really speaking to me. You know, Kim Walker-Smith has that song about stones. Oh my gosh, I was getting with it. And so I started looking up just uses for stones and rocks. And this is like a small sampling, right? There's tons of uses. But like, let's take a look, because we're running the gamut here, people. There's not just like you use them to build things. We got our verse from the conference here is showing us about how to build temples and walls and whatnot. A place you rest your head? What? Okay, no, not for me. But in Genesis, they were resting their heads there. Sometimes they use special stones like the jewels and things to make those armor, the breastplate, all kinds of fancy things. Stones of remembrance. Joshua leads them. He separates the Jordan River, and he's like, we're going to remember this day. Everybody grab a stone, and you stack them up. And so they see those stones, and that reminds them. They stacked them up. Oh, perfect. Jesus, thank you. Oh, man, that was nice. I was thinking about this morning because I just got back from vacation with my family. We drove 14 hours in the car with my 2 children who are both still alive. Thank you, Jesus. And I was thinking this morning, I'm like, I'm kind of like that girl that's showing up a day late to the sleepover. Like, everybody's already had fun and, like, braided each other's hair, and I'm like, hey, guys. So here I am. So thanks for pointing that out. That's perfect. Okay, tablet for, a refuge for the Hyraxes, which is like a rabbit-like creature that lives in the, like, rocky mountains and stones, okay? So they like that. They're happy about it. Still not me. Tablet for inscriptions. That's the 10 Commandments. What else we got? Weapon to fight evil. That's David and Goliath, okay? So you see all this. And there's even some things there that are more just like abstract, you know, to have the representation of Christ be shown as a stone. Oh my gosh. You taking this real hard, concrete thing and saying it represents Christ. So all kinds of uses here. Okay, but then I found this verse, okay, or this passage. Whew. So get ready, girls. Just saddle up. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go through these couple of verses. It just really, for me, ran the gamut of what stones can be. We're going to live here. We're going to talk about each verse individually, and we're going to hit it. Okay, so we're going to start with verses 4 and 5. Now, I wrote up there at the top, I'm using the Passion Translation as we go through here because I love me some Passion Translation. I want to hugely encourage you to just seek out different translations. I'm telling you that sometimes, so I just have like a Christian Standard Bible that's got all kinds of like fun little extra things that are great, but changing even one word can change a meaning. Am I right? And so if something doesn't hit you right, go look it up in another version. And guess what? That old Bible app, all you got to do is a tippy tap because it takes 6 seconds. I mean, you don't have to have 10, I got a hair on me. You don't have to have 10 Bibles laid out, okay? It's still there. There it is. Got it. Okay, sorry. I was doing a lot of arm waggling. It was bothering me. I'm real sorry about that. Okay, so here we are in the Passion. I don't want to take away from other translations being valuable. Has a sidebar that will happen many times, I'm sorry. I really have even recently learned about the value of different translations, okay? There are some versions that are created purposefully to be a word-for-word translation. King James, thee, thou, that's not for me, but thank you for your word-for-word translation because sometimes there's a time and a place for that. And that's not the only one, right? But then there's other translations on the other end of the spectrum, like the Message, that just take the concept and they kind of just represent the idea of it. And it's not word for word. And it's not meant to be, and it's meant to be put in language that like would be familiar for us today and easy to kind of understand. Okay? And so they all have their place. Okay? Sometimes you can read something in one translation, you're like, oh my gosh, and then this is probably good in 3 other translations. You flip to something, you're like, well, not so much. So you just got to keep working, though, until you find what works for you. Okay, so we're in the Passion. That was a lot of talking to just tell you we're in the Passion. All right, here we go. I can't read that. That's too small for me. I have glasses. Okay, verse 4. So keep coming to him who is the living stone. Though he was rejected and discarded by men, but chosen by God, and is priceless in God's sight. Pause. Priceless, in another translation said precious. And I was doing some research about this, and it was funny. One commentator was like, here you have Peter, who obviously is talking to us. And Peter is like this rough and tumble guy. Like, you look at him sideways, he's going to fight you. And here he's talking about Jesus being precious. Oh, thank you, Peter, for that image. So, once again, one word, just kind of puts a little different spin on it. Priceless is good, precious is good. They just have different, connotation. Verse 5, come and be his living stones. He's calling you to be his living stones, who are continually being assembled into a sanctuary for God. For now you serve as holy priests, offering up spiritual sacrifices that he readily accepts through Jesus Christ. So, there's a lot going on in these 2 verses here. And one thing we notice here is that Jesus is our living stone, okay? He was discarded. Have you ever felt that way? And Jesus has been there. But he's the living stone, and he's calling you to be a living stone. Can you take for a second? There are just some times where you just have to sit in it for a minute and just let that register. That Jesus is the living stone and that you are called to be a living stone. Do you see what call is on your life? Do you see that God is calling you just like he called Jesus? That's a thing. Yeah, get your goosebumps going. Get them ready, because we're going to talk some more about, just keep them hair raised up. Okay, now let's move down to, for now you serve as holy priests, offering up spiritual sacrifices. That was a job when they had sacrifices that was only for the priests. You were supposed to take your little goat or your little, perfect lamb, and he'd check it over. Okay, yep, you can go make your sacrifice. And we don't need to do that anymore. You're the holy priest. You don't have to go through anyone else. And it doesn't even call you to bring a dang goat anymore. Praise the Lord. I like my chickens. I'd like to keep them. I don't want to sacrifice them. But, our spiritual sacrifices are these things we've been talking about this morning. That brokenheartedness, sacrifice it, get out of here. Those burdens you're carrying, get out of here. I'm going to sacrifice you to God. I do not need you. I'm laying him on the altar. He's got it from here. You just walk away and just leave it on there. So, we're called to build that temple. Okay? We're them. We're the living stones. And I still, sometimes, and this just goes back to stop limiting God's call on your life. Are you telling yourself, he's not going to use me? Look at all those women praying for those other people. I can never do that. You just limited God. When you say you can't do something or that'll never be me, you're saying to God, I don't think you can do that. So, when you feel like that's not for me, and it's something like this that we're seeing, that's just God at work, you say, God, I can't wait till you do that with me. Amen. That's what you say. As soon as you hear yourself going, I can never do that. Or I can never get up there and act like an idiot. I have no problem doing that. But for all y'all with actual dignity, you're like, oh, I can never get up there. Well, yeah, right. You maybe couldn't get up here, but with God you can. I love it when y'all talk back to me like that. I just love it. It's because, Brookie, I had in school. I had a couple of you maybe, but I didn't like it quiet. We were like talking back and forth. So thank you for being my people. All right, here we go. So this next little section, you'll notice I tried to kind of like tab over to represent how it's written in your Bibles, because what we're doing is representing and referring back to a lot of verses in the Old Testament, okay? So verse 6, for it says in Scripture, look, I lay a cornerstone in Zion, a chosen and priceless, also precious, stone, and whoever believes in him will certainly not be disappointed. As believers, you know his great worth. Indeed, his preciousness is imparted to you. But for those who do not believe, the stone that the builders rejected and discarded has now become the cornerstone. And a stone that makes them stumble and a rock to trip over. They keep stumbling over the message because they refuse to believe it. And this they were destined to do. So real quick, just for those of you that are like nerds like me that like to kind of write down those references, in verse 6, the reference is Isaiah 28:16. Isaiah 28:16. In verse 7, we go to the Psalms 118, verse 22. And then in verse 8 there, we're referring back to Isaiah 8:14. I didn't feel like we had the time really to dive into all of those, but I wanted to tell you because, if this hits you, then go look them up. So let's talk about a few things here. It starts out at the beginning talking about being in Zion, okay? And let's talk about what Zion represents. It was once this Jebusite stronghold, which I'm real sorry, but did you not love the word Jebusite? Like, I don't want to be a Jebusite because they're the bad guys. But, like, I don't know, something about being a Jebusite just sounds cool. Like they're probably wearing leather jackets and they're like the greasers or something. I don't know, that's just me. Okay, maybe not. But anyway, so the Jebusites originally were in Zion, but David kicks them out of town, okay? And he conquers them, and he says, no, this is going to be the capital for my kingdom. Okay? So Zion's this really important place. David's saying, this is the capital. And it becomes this thing or location that's more than just a place. Okay? It's an actual representation of this is where we meet God. Okay? So what was once this town of greasers in their jackets smoking in the bathroom underneath the bleachers at the football game, okay? David's like, no, this is God's land. You see where I'm going with this, folks? What part of you in your landscape are you keeping and saying, well, that's how it is. That's just how my family is. That's just how it is. No. You make that the capital of God's holy land, and you say, I'll see you there. That's yours now. So there's no doubt here who our cornerstone is. And we talk about the precious, and see, even Passion's like, all right, we're going to get on this precious train here. And in verse 7, they talk about Jesus' preciousness imparted to you. And this is another thing that I had to stop in my tracks. Understand completely that what is being said here is that the way God feels about Jesus is given to you, and that is how God feels about you. Take a second. I'm going to get loud. Take a second and say to yourself, God loves me like he loves Jesus. Get it down in your soul. I am telling you, because if you can let that penetrate and just soak into you and be flowing through your blood in your veins, you'll never believe another lie. You'll never say, I'm not good enough. You'll never say, oh, that's not for me. You'll never say, I'll just screw it up. Don't pick somebody else. You'll never say that if you know that God treats you and loves you and cares about you the same way he loves and cares for Jesus. Come on, get with it. I'm serious. We're not playing here. Am I right? We as children of God are not playing. We're his. Okay, come on with it. I can't. I just need a minute for my own dang self. I was talking to myself for a minute there. Do you hear me? Okay. I know, I'm still a little verklempt here. Okay, all right, verse 8. There's something I want to point out in verse 8 here. Okay, so at the end there, they're talking about stumbling over the message. And I actually was kind of perplexed by that when I was first reading through it and trying to grasp everything. I'm like, what exactly are they stumbling over? Why are they stumbling? How do I not stumble? I fall a lot. Are we talking to me? I don't know. So anyways, I was reading about, and at that time, we think about the Jews not believing that Jesus was the Messiah. Okay? And so they did not receive that truth. They didn't believe it. And so that caused them to stumble. We can see that all over the place, right? The Pharisees are always trying to trap him and always trying to trick him and always trying to argue with him and everything. And they're falling all over themselves. So when people don't believe, it creates that barrier. And now the stone has become a stumbling block instead of a living stone that's building the temple for God. Okay. All right, let's get on with it. Because this is where it's at. We're not gonna rush through this. We're gonna read it slow, and you're just gonna let every word just sink in your skin. Okay? But you are God's chosen treasure. Pause. Chosen. You didn't just show up on his doorstep and he said, all right, I'll take you in. You didn't just beg him, please. No, he chose you. He chose you. And you, and you, and you, and me. And he chose us as a treasure, okay? Now this word in the scripture in Hebrew, segula, stop it. Get out of my notes. Oh, of course. Okay, segula. So I'm going to read it pretty much directly from there. Okay, it's a special treasure, but it means possession. Okay, and it's describing how kings would put their jewels and their other sacred things and treasures in these certain places to protect them because they were so valuable. I'm chosen and I'm a treasure, and you're putting me in a special spot because you want to protect me? Huh. Right? He's just not only am I choosing you, not only am I loving you, but I'm just gonna take you in. And I'm just gonna set you over here. I'm gonna protect you. Okay? We're gonna be real safe because you're mine. I chose you. Ooh, I love you. Ooh, he loves you. Okay. Oh, yeah, so I stopped. Okay. Priests who are kings. Pause again. See, I told you we were going to go real slow. Priests who are kings, they had, at that time, separate jobs for everybody. Somebody who is a priest is not a king, is not a prophet. Okay? You're one thing or another. And he's like, not no more. Not no more. Priests who are kings. So he's saying, I'm taking down this division. I'm taking down that you can only do one thing. I'm taking down that you are only one identity. You're priests, you're kings, you're chosen treasure. You're all of it. I have all of it for you. Okay, a spiritual nation set apart as God's devoted ones. I feel, let's for a second there. There's some work to be done, right? God doesn't say the Christian life is easy. You've all heard that before, and that's not news to you. But what we're called to do is be devoted. Okay? He doesn't say set apart as God's ones that come on Sundays. He doesn't say those that praise me when it's good. Or the opposite, because everybody's kind of different. Sometimes it's real easy to praise God when it's good, but it's real hard to talk to him when it's bad. And so you say, never mind. I'll catch you when it's over, because you're not doing anything for me right now. And it's because you're not with him. You're trying to stand on your own 2 feet when you say that. He called you, okay, this is it, people. Anytime we talk about darkness and light, just give me a chair, because this is it, okay? He called the darkness, called you out of the darkness to experience his marvelous light, and now he claims you as his very own. Oh, stop. You're in the dark? Get out of there. There's a dang sunbeam, flashlight, spotlight. There it is. I knew it was coming. It was coming. I had to just keep trying. All that, though, is just waiting for you. But guess what? The light doesn't come on its own, right? It has to be shined into your darkness. And does the darkness fade away slowly? Absolutely not. You have to seek that light. Seek it on purpose. You don't just look at your flashlight and go, all right. Okay, I'm going to say let's go crab hunting, because that's what we just did this week in Gulf Shores. But I don't say to my flashlight okay, light the way. You got to turn it on. You cannot say, well, I'm in darkness, and this stinks. And it just, yes. You can't just sit in it. It's easy to sit in it, isn't it? It's easy to just start that narrative of oh man, I got fired. And now we have no money. And now I have no food. And now my kids are mad at me. And now, fill in the blank. Do you hear lightness in that? Do you even hear God? It's not him. Hey, by the way, you are a chosen treasure. Does God want darkness for you? No. He doesn't want it for you. Why are you letting it take you over? Why are you asking for darkness? You're like, I'm not asking for darkness. This is what I say to 7th graders all the time. Your actions aren't matching your words. Because we want to say, I love God. I love him. He loves me. And then you don't talk to him till Sunday. He did this so that you would broadcast his glorious wonders throughout the world. My kids, we sing songs at bedtime. If anybody stood near me when we're singing, it's not because I'm a good singer. It's just because I'm enthusiastic. That's the only reason they like me to sing. And my daughter Katie right now is on This Little Light of Mine, which thank goodness, because for a long time it was Little Bunny Foo Foo. And I don't know if you know that song, but it is horrible. And you can't say no to a 9-year-old that's asking you to sing Little Bunny Foo Foo. You cannot. If you met Katie, you can't say no to her. No. She's too sweet. But I hate that song, and I taught it to her. Oh. us. Okay, I'm going to let that go. We sing this little light of mine. You hiding it under a bushel? Nope. But here's the thing. We think to ourselves, once again, putting God in a box and limiting him. We think, oh, well, I'm not going to get up there and speak, so what am I supposed to do? Well, guess what? You have friends, and you have probably children that are either yours or in your life. You have probably a job that you go to. You maybe have a bowling league on Wednesday night. I'm telling you, you stop saying, this is my God portion of my life, and this is my everything else portion of my life. You stop putting the dividers in. You say, God, be everywhere with me. Go to the Mexican restaurant with me, God. Let's pray at our table and let people watch us. Where are you putting the blinders on? Where are you putting it under a bushel? You need to say to yourself, which part of my life is not yours, God? When I first was like on my little spiritual awakening, I really felt like music was one place that I was not letting God. I love music. Oh, I love all kinds of music. Well, I love a lot of music. I don't love every music, but I love a lot of music. And I was just like, I wasn't willing to give that to God. I really had in my mind that like Christian music is so cheesy, and I don't even really know. I never gave it a chance. I don't know why I thought that, but there I was thinking it. And I stopped saying no to that, and it's all I listen to now. And not because, the only reason is not because, oh God, I want to make sure that my music is good. That's good. Because guess what? My kids are listening to me listen to it. Okay, so that's good. But because now that I have said I surrender that part of my life to you, it's what I desire. I'm not playing with you when I say to you, when you give something to God, he will take away those desires that are pulling you away from him. He'll say, okay, I'll give you something you'll like. And now, get out of here. I'm dancing. I can't sing, but I can dance. I mean, anybody? Okay. But I'm just saying, you know, if you're God, man, who said it before? Okay, somebody's going to go. It was me. We're talking about how would you live? It was you. How would you live if you remembered all the time you're a chosen treasure? You'd say, I'd be thanking God all day long that I'm a chosen treasure. I'd be singing about it. I'd be telling others about it. I'd be real nice to the jerk that cut me off on 50 highway. Because that's how you let your light shine. It's hard not to be mad about it. I'm going to tell you what. But, okay. All right. So here we are, fork in the road. Man, we talked about a lot of different stuff here, I feel like. We're all over the place. There's so much goodness to God. And as I was typing this out, I'm like, option 1, someone who doesn't believe. You're stumbling. Option 2, you're God's chosen treasure. You're living a fruitful life. That feels like a no-brainer, right? Sure it does. You look at it black and white like that, green and white. You're like, well, sure. Who wouldn't want to be a God's chosen treasure? But I'm telling you, that you have to choose that path, that fork in the road. You have to choose it every day. Do not wake up one day and think, I'm good. Do not go one meal without saying, I don't need to thank God for this one. We're out in public. We're at the Hardee's. I'm not saying the Lord's Prayer at Hardee's. Why not? I'm just saying. Are you not thankful for your Frisco breakfast sandwich? Because that's my favorite thing at Hardee's, curly fries. And their curly fries. Oh, okay, forgot about that. But you know, this is not something you take lightly. All this stuff that we're talking about with identity and all that, you don't just wake up in the morning and stop thinking that, oh, I wish my face was less wrinkly. I don't know. Sorry. I didn't have it when I started, and I definitely didn't have it at the end. Okay. But you know, Come on, you don't just wake up and it just happens. No. You have got to say it on purpose every day. And then when you catch yourself at 2:30 p.m. going, oh, there's another wrinkle, you don't go, oh, shoot. You go, God, I love the face you gave me. Thank you for loving it. You cannot expect this to happen on accident. You better live purposefully. Do not live accidentally. The devil loves that. He's like, oh, you're living all willy-nilly? Well, let me slither on in there. No, God's like, we are stones. We're not Jell-O. I think that was kind of good. That just came to me. No? Thank you. I got one thumbs up. I don't care. I'm putting it on a t-shirt. Okay. Yeah, Roberta. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And listen, okay, sidebar. I'm sorry. No sidebar. You guys do not have time for this. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to share with you a couple of resources that I use to kind of write some of this stuff and some of the places that I found research, because I think that's important to give credit where credit's due. All the nonsense was me. All the real information is from these places. And I just want to end with this, because, I mean, I really, given a platform, okay, just look out, okay? But given a robe, it's a little more subdued. So if you would like to join this Facebook group, all this is I get on there every day and talk a little Jesus. Okay? And some days you're going to be like, well, this broad's dumb, and you're right. And then the next day you might be like, that was good, but I'm still dumb. It just, God softened your heart that day a little extra. That's all it is. And I thank God, because guess what? I said no to him for 6 months, then I said yes, and now Rope Talks brings me joy. Okay, I don't care if y'all watch. I mean, I like it when you do, but it's not even for you, sorry. Because I just love it. I just love talking about it, and I love sharing what I'm learning. And that's all this is. It's just a way for you to say, I'm going to make something part of my routine. It doesn't need to be Rope Talks. In fact, you'd probably be better off if it wasn't. But find something. Find something. Okay? And do it on purpose. Do not just get up and say, well, I got to read my devotional. You're already lost. If that's how you open your devotional, by saying, oh man, I got to check this box, you better go pray first, okay? Because you're a mess. And please don't hear me saying that I haven't done that. And please don't hear me say that there aren't some days, oh man, I was convicted earlier, because at the end of the school year last year, I was like, I'm real tired. I was getting up real early for a long time before that, but then May rolls around, I was a May teacher tired, and snooze. So don't hear me saying I got this figured out or that I'm not still fighting the battle, but fight it with me. And then look around you, and when you see that face, fight it with them. And say, sister, what are you doing on purpose today? I'm loving Jesus. I just came up with that too. Thank you. What are you doing today? Just loving Jesus. All right. Okay, I want to pray a little bit, and then, man, we're going to boogie with it, I think. Nope. Yes, thank you. She's a schedule master. Jeez. Okay. All right. Bow your heads. Father God, oh God, thank you for this opportunity. Let me just start selfishly and just say this is a blessing to stand here and talk to these God-loving women about you. What a treat. What a joy you have given me to be able to stand here and talk about you. That we live in a country where I can do this without fear. That we live in a town that has hundreds of women that want to come and shout your name, God. Thank you, God, for these women in this room who came here on purpose, God. They chose you today, God. They chose you so that you would build that fire in them. Just stoke it and just keep it burning. And I ask God that you take that flame and may it spread like wildfire. God, do not let the earth and these fleshly things put it out. Do not let the snooze alarm. Do not let our fear of what other people will think. Do not let those mistaken truths that are lies tell us that we should be put out. God, burn us with love for you. God, thank you. Thank you for being our Father, for choosing each one of us, for keeping us safe, for setting us aside, for calling us to be your chosen people. This is for us today. It's not from the Israelites in the Old Testament. It's for us today. We are yours, God, and let us act like it every day. In the name of your Holy Son, amen.